all of the Demonias that I've purchased. I bought these Demonias so that you don't have to. Hello lovelies, welcome back to another video. I've been meaning to film a video like this one for the longest time ever. I don't know why, I just kept waiting and waiting and waiting to see like when the best time to film the video would be. Recently I went to an eyeglass store in New York, and I don't know, it's like when I walked in there I was like, I'm returning back to a previous self that has not been explored in a long time. Not that I have been not myself, but I like am different than I was before, but not so different. Yeah, what I'm trying to say is, with the coming of the new year and all these people talking about they want to go back to their old selves, their 2016 selves, except I'm not going back to my 2016 self because then I'd be like 13 or something, and I don't really want to go back to that. What was I saying? But with everybody wanting to go back to their 2016 selves, I would like to go back to my 2020 self. Now I'm no longer 18, 19, I'm now 23, and things have changed. Things have changed. The setting has changed. The setting will go back to what it used to be actually in a couple of months because I'm in my bachelor's. My style has shifted, but not necessarily completely changed. Anyways, with all that, with whatever I just said, today I wanted to review all of the Demonias that I've purchased. I bought these Demonias so that you don't have to. The Demonia tea, the realness, somebody who never got sponsored by them. Not that I was expecting to be sponsored by them, but somebody who has my 100% complete honest opinion, because at the end of the day, I don't have any loyalties to any brand or anything. Basically, I'm going to be rating my experience with Demonia shoes. As you guys know, I'm like the Demonias girl. I have so many pairs of Demonia shoes. It's ridiculous. I only have 2 feet. Like, where am I going with all these shoes? I don't know. I still have a ton of shoes now. I can't believe I'm saying this right now, guys, but I sold some of my shoes. I didn't really do it because I necessarily wanted to. I did it because I realized how ridiculous it was, the amount of shoes that I had. I was like, where am I wearing all these shoes to? Some of the shoes I don't even really wear. And then I also just needed money because I'm in college and I had to pay for my summer housing. Also, check out my new jewelry. I got a bracelet with charms secured. Let's actually get to the reviewing. The first pair of Demonia shoes that I ever purchased were the damned 318s, suede ones. I kind of want to include the prices just to show you guys like the changes. When I bought them then, this could be included. I don't know if I included the shipping or not, but they were $114.95. They're actually marked down right now as of January 18th, 2026. Actually $105.95. But I love these ones. They're my babies, my first pair of Demonias ever. They were a little heavy. At the same time, they were easy to walk in. These were like one of the pair that I wore the most. They were pretty comfortable. They were warm. And they made a little jingle when you walked because of all the buckles and stuff. But truly, these ones for me were iconic because first ever stomper crazy looking boot I ever purchased. Opened up the floodgates for real. Because then I went crazy after that. These pair, unfortunately I did sell them because I really shouldn't have based it off of this, but I based the reason why I sold some of my shoes off of whether I wore them enough or not. And the thing is, I didn't wear them enough at the time of when I sold them, but that's also because they weren't here. They weren't with me at school. This just goes to show that deep down, I still love the shoes. Next shoe that I purchased for the stock 08. You know, the ones that are like lower on the ankle. So when I originally bought them, they were $68.95, and now they're $97.95. Inflation. It has been like 5-6 years. These ones, they were like a little funny to walk in because they were like slightly below the ankle. And also I have a very narrow foot. I feel like a lot of Demonias are not necessarily made for narrow-footed people. And I got them in my correct size, but sometimes my foot would like slide forward in them. I mean, like, they are a heel, and whenever my foot would slide forward, it would feel like my foot was about to come out of the shoe. So they weren't necessarily the most comfortable shoe to walk in. Also didn't really have much support to them, and they were kind of like stiff. But I didn't hate the shoe. Will I buy it again? Probably not, because I sold them. Next shoe, which these ones are my babies. My babies. They're actually right there. Say hi. It's the Kara 08 wedge heel Mary Jane looking shoes. When I first bought them, they were $54.94, and now they're $75.95. I love these. They're just too cute. I love the color on the inside. They're like a purpley, like a very dark, rich purple on the inside, and they have like the red writing into Demonias on them. I love them. They're just, even though I'm not a very like cutesy girl, like I have cute things. Yeah, I'm not like I don't dress necessarily cutesy sometimes. These ones though, they're not the easiest to walk in because there's so much shoe at the bottom, and the only thing really helping the shoe stay on are the two straps. At the same time, as a narrow-footed person, there's like still more room in the shoe, so like they're kind of like flopping in a way. Once again, I want to say that I bought the shoes in the correct size. Shoes will be shoes, and sometimes your feet will be narrow, and sometimes your feet will be wide, and sometimes they'll be just right, and that's what life is. They're like a middle ground when it comes to comfortable versus not comfortable, because they're not like, my feet hurt. They're more like, my feet are okay. I just wouldn't really wear them for a whole day. I have done it before around campus, but my campus is very naturey, so. But I have tripped a couple of times in these shoes, so I'm very cautious when I wear them. I try not to wear them if I'm going to be doing a lot of walking anymore. So the next pair of shoes are the Shaker 65s, the vegan leather ones. When I originally bought them, they were $85.95, and now they are $108.95. Pretty big price jump. Pretty big price jump, Demonia. These ones are pretty comfortable, pretty easy to walk in. They were a little bit like funky looking on me. I feel like I explained this in one of my Demonia hauls before. I have a lot of room around the calf and my ankles, so like they would like slide around, and it was just very unflattering in my opinion. So I didn't really wear them too much because of that. And I also talked about this in my second Demonias haul video, that I was considering trading, not necessarily trading them, but getting rid of the Shaker 65s for the other ones, which I then did do, and I did sell these ones. I did. Yeah, I didn't really love these ones that much. They're cute, but they're not cute. The next pair are the Damned 318s. These ones are the vegan leather ones. I know, I'm a little bit ridiculous. I bought two of the same pair. They probably say that on the next shoe too. But when I originally purchased them, they were $114.95, and now they're $144.95. That's also another big price jump. Sorry. They're very similar to the suede ones. Literally, they're just a different. I was waiting for the train to pass. They're just a different material. I love these ones a lot more, to be honest. They're a more snug fit on my leg. I like a tight fitting boot, unless it's not meant to be tight fitting. Like, pretty comfortable because they're just a platform shoe and they didn't really have like a heel to them. And I used to wear them everywhere. I love these. They were my babies. And unfortunately I did sell these ones, and I do regret selling them. Like, I wish I would have just kept these ones, but I didn't. I'm just like reminiscing, looking at my depop. Like, if desperate times didn't lead to desperate measures, I would still have them now. I don't even sound like I was going through like a crisis, but really I just had to be an adult and pay for my college stuff. So I hope everybody who purchased my shoes from me is loving them and treating them as well as I did and taking care of them, because they're my babies. Okay, moving on. The next pair of shoes. Pair of shoes because it's two shoes. The next pair of shoes I purchased were these Stomp 10s, which apparently they discontinued these ones. I didn't really do too much research on them, but when I looked on the Demonias website, I do not see them anymore. Like, they don't exist. When I originally bought them, they were $87.95. I did not look up to see how much people are reselling theirs for. I don't know. I really love these ones. I like them a lot more than the Stomp 08s. They have a lot more support. They're a little bit more comfortable to walk in because they have that extra support, because they go above the ankle versus the Stomp 08s. In my opinion, they should have discontinued the Stomp 08s instead of the 10s. Did I say they were comfortable to walk in? Because I If I did, I didn't mean that. They're not like uncomfortable. If I was to put actual heels on versus these, I'd be more uncomfortable in the heels than I would be these. But because these have a heel to them, my feet do slide forward, and you know, my little toes are getting crushed. Like I said, they do have a lot more support than the 8s do, so that makes them more comfortable in a way. I only have 8 more shoes to go through, and this is a 4-page document, guys. The next shoe are the Mori 310s, and when I originally bought them, they were $107.95, and I think they also discontinued these ones because when I was looking on the website, I also did not see these. I don't know, I guess they just didn't want to make them anymore. I love these ones. I don't really wear them that much. They're kind of heavy. Like, oh, I didn't even talk about that. Some of these shoes are heavy, as you think they would be, because they have such a thick wedge to them. Mid on the scale of comfortable. They're not uncomfortable, but they're not like the most comfortable shoe ever. The most comfortable shoe I've ever worn that I own are the Nike Air Rifts. Those are comfortable, but they are also not Demonias. They're not a platform. They're a sneaker. I don't really wear them as an everyday shoe. I tend to wear them more as like a costume shoe. I think I wore them on Halloween. And I think I wore them to a anime convention when I was dressed up as a jester, which I have my lanyards over here. The next shoe are the Ranger 301s. The cost then was $85.95. The cost now is $108.95. I also really love these ones. I will keep saying that though, like a lot of the Demonias I purchased are not ones that I hated. Besides the Shakers 65s, I really like hate any of these. And I didn't even hate those. I just didn't love the way they looked on my foot. These were very comfortable. I wore them as an everyday shoe. They were super easy to walk in. The only thing awkward about them though was like the height of the shoe, because they're not an ankle boot. They're not a knee-high boot. They're like a mid-calf, but like slightly lower than that. So sometimes when I would try to pick out a skirt to wear with it, if I wore a mini skirt, it just felt like there was too much space between the shoe and the skirt, but also like not too much. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, I wore them often, but like not that often in comparison to other shoes that I have. But I didn't really have any like crazy complaints about these ones. Unfortunately, they were like one of the first pairs to go when I was selling my shoes. Don't worry, there will be something in the future of some new thing that I'm collecting. I don't know. Okay, pause, because I have not been like buying things like that as of late because I am a college student and I work a little on-campus job that I really don't make that much money on, and when I do get my money, I spend it on groceries or food or whatever. I kind of want to do like a jewelry collection video because I have so much jewelry and belts. I love me a good belt. It's like kind of an issue. How I had an issue with Demonias, and I have an issue with belts. And sometimes, guys, belts can be expensive. You don't even think about it. You're like, okay, shoes are expensive, but you wouldn't think that a belt would be expensive. But like, have you ever looked at an $80 belt before? No, you haven't. Exactly. But I love belts. They're just, I don't know. Let's continue. The next shoe I purchased, I was about to say a joke, but then I would be like exposing myself. And my interests. I'm not quite ready to share it. Actually, you know what? No, I don't care. I was gonna say a joke about Shuimino. If any of you guys watch VTubers, there you go. Next shoe are the Trashville 518s, which they're sitting right there. And when I originally purchased them, they were $103.95. Now they are $124.95. I don't know what it is with the 95 cents. I feel like I can't really do like a full honest review about these shoes because they are a men's shoe. And when I first purchased them, I didn't realize that. Somebody in the comments told me that they're a men's shoe, girl. And I was like, oh gosh, I didn't know. I still am wearing them though. My experience as a woman with a narrow foot in a size 7 shoe, they are big on me. I love them. I like the belt loops. That's how I bought them. So for anybody who might be watching this who has a pair of those and is a man or has just gotten a size that fits them, leave your little review in the comments because, you know, they're not like uncomfortable. They're just like a lot of room. They're heavy because they're not my size, and yeah. The The next shoe is the Sticker 72s, which were originally $99.95 and now they're $120.95. I love these ones so much. I wear them very often, although these days they're kind of being pushed over to the side by my Steve Madden shoes. Sorry. They are comfortable, but they do have a heel, so after a while they're not so comfortable anymore. But I have worn them many times on campus, walking around, standing up in my fashion classes or any of my art classes. I love how snug they are on my calf. We know I love a good snug boot. I love the look of a lace-up boot or a buckle-up boot. The next shoe, these ones. I love these ones so much. They're the Stack 301s. They were originally $99.95. and now they're $120.95. They're just so cute and so like cool to me. I love the like stitching detail on them. They're just, I'm gonna be honest, they're not uncomfortable because even if they have like a slight heel to them, they're not like a crazy heel. But they are not the easiest to walk in, as you can probably tell by just looking at them, because they are a 7-inch platform. Like I went from being 5'4" to almost 6 foot whenever I wear these. And that's a big change, adjustment. The first time I ever wore them, I wore them to a party. And I was fine, yes, but like walking on the street to and from the party, it was like, dang, I'm struggling a bit here. Like I feel like I'm gonna fall over and break my ankle. And you, person that I'm with, slow down. I cannot walk any faster than this. Whenever I wear them, I feel a little awkward because I'm basically like 6 foot, so I'm towering over a bunch of people. The next shoe, these are also my babies. They are the Bear 04s. They were once $99.95, now they're $121.95. And we all know, if you watched my previous video, that I waited for these ones to go back on sale. Like I put in my email everything. I was pressing get notifications. I was checking Demonia's website every day for these shoes to go back on sale. And they're my first ever glossy shoe. I literally wore them the other day. However, they're a mix of comfortable and not comfortable because they are comfortable, but like they also could not be comfortable because they could rub on your calf if you don't wear the proper socks with them. But honestly, it could just come down to like tightening the belt, like the buckle on them or not. But yeah, you just gotta make sure if you get these that you wear thick enough socks with them. They are heavy, so be prepared for that. One of my favorites. 2 more shoes left. The second to last pair are the Camel 311s. I don't remember how much they cost then. They do cost $129.95 now. They're super cute, however they're not really my style. And when I bought them, I felt my style like slightly changing, so they would have been fitting my wardrobe at the time. But when I first started buying Demonias, I would say I was more like mall goth, and then I started slowly becoming more like very grunge. Every time I say that, I just think it's hilarious. But now I feel like I've like reverted further, like back over here to like a more goth chic, if you will. If you thought everything I owned before was black, literally 90% of my wardrobe these days is black. So basically what I'm saying is that I don't have these shoes anymore. I'm gonna be honest, I did not wear them more than one time. I wore them like once. They weren't uncomfortable. They're very easy to walk in. You saw like in my videos, you could do like a freaking cartwheel in these shoes. Like that's how easy they were to walk in. But just, yeah, they just weren't really me. They weren't me. They aren't me now. So, because I sold those ones, I got a different pair that is very similar. I got the Bear 202s, which is part of the same family as the other Bear pair, even though they're very different looking shoes. I don't remember how much they were when I originally bought them, but they are $121.95 now. I love these shoes. I wear them quite often. More often than I thought I would when I originally purchased them. They're very easy to walk in, very comfortable, very warm, but they are heavy. The majority of these shoes are heavy. I mean, technically I got these as a replacement for the Camels, but not really. I own them at the same time. Those are all the shoes, all the Demonias, I think. The Camels are the last pair that I ever like did a whole video about. I'm not sure if I have any other Demonias. That's it. My favorite shoe, take it down to the Bears, the Bear family. Which one? I think I have to say that my favorite pair of shoes out of all the ones I've purchased are the Bears 04. I did something about that shoe. I just love it so much. I just think if I had to be a shoe, that would be me. I'm gonna get closer. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and this is like my official review of all the shoes, the Demonia shoe that I purchased. I hope you join me in my next video. I'll see you in my next one.